Welcome to the Under the Halo podcast. My name is Trent Rush, and boy, do we have a treat for you today. Welcome in Zach Neto, the Angels' power-hitting shortstop. Yes, I said power-hitting. He's on his way to one of the best power-hitting seasons an Angels shortstop has ever had. We'll talk about his offense. We'll talk about his defensive mastery and what his time has been like with Ron Washington, what he has learned from Wash. We get into his family and learn a lot about who Zach Neto is. That's the whole point of today. So without further ado, here now is our conversation with Angels shortstop Zach Neto. All right, Zach, I want to get started with something that has been brought to my attention from your good friend Logan and your teammate. Just wanted to get a quick update. How are you doing with your vegetables? Are you eating your vegetables nowadays?
Not really. I'm more drinking, my vegetable juice. I'm not a big fan of eating the vegetables. I'd rather not see it and just drink it.
I think that counts. But we were notified of the situation with the Takis and him trying to flip you over to broccoli. And he said, well, if you do this, and this is your path to major leagues. But Zach, here we are sitting in the press box at a major league ballpark, and now you've been going at it this first full season. But really, last year pretty much counts as a full season for you as well, since you spent so much time up here. Just would love to know, how are things in regards to feeling comfortable here, being acclimated, and being such a young player? But you just seem so cool, calm, collected in these big moments on a big stage.
Yeah, I think it's like you said, just being able to be comfortable out here every day. I come to the ballpark, or when we're on the road, it just gets more comfortable by the day. And now everybody gets to say that they've played at a big league stadium, or even got to step foot on a big league stadium. So being able to do that, it's very rewarding, and knowing that my whole life I've been working to be in this situation, and finally be able to do it. It's a dream come true, and it makes it a lot comfortable when the guys in the locker room make it easy for you to come out here every day, get your work in, and just be able to go out there and have fun. Keep enjoying your days, every day, and just know that it's going to be the same thing tomorrow.
It seems like there is a fun group here. I mean, we see you and Logan a lot, and we did a video. Nolan was a part of it too. I'm calling you guys the 25U crew, and all these young Angels that are coming up together, and you guys are working, you're growing, you're developing, you're getting better. I would hope that with that comes a little bit of chemistry and camaraderie too. How's that part going?
For sure, it's like you said. We got a bunch of young guys in this team, and being able to enjoy this experience, enjoy this time with them, and be able to see how they are as a player, as a teammate, even off the field as a person. It's big time for us. We take a lot of advantage of coming to the ballpark every day, and being in a major league locker room and playing on a major league stadium. But not too many people account to what we do behind the doors. We try to know the person and get to know that person in a relationship, just so that when we step feet in between those white lines, we feel comfortable and we know what that person is going to bring to the table every day. We
got the perspective of Logan when he first got to AA Rocket City, your roommate at the time. Yeah. And I would love to know your perspective on that. What was that time like, getting to know Logan, you guys arriving same place, same time, and also having the goal of trying to get to the major leagues? Was that a fun way to get to know each other a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. It was honestly awesome, being able to make my AA debut in Biloxi, and for him to be there, it was pretty cool. He was my locker mate in Biloxi. When we came back home, he was my roommate. We got assigned to live together, and it made it easy to come to the ballpark every day with him and just be able to know what he was going to bring.
I do. The dynamic is just really fun, just from an outsider watching you guys. In so many ways, like Logan, I feel like is kind of the dad of the group. Do I have that right? And then I almost get the sense that you might be kind of the prankster in there. Do I have the right read on that?
I think it's more like Logan's like the older brother.
Okay.
I think Logan's the older brother. I feel like I'm kind of like the either little brother or middle child for sure. Kind of Logan bringing me under his wing, as well as me kind of giving him some hard times. Just like any other little brother would.
See, man, I think Nolan is the littlest brother.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty well established. He's very clear. He's like the freshman.
No doubt, he's definitely the freshman.
That's good stuff. Speaking of that, I want to kind of talk about your college path for just a moment, because when you came up, I mean, you go to Campbell University, which I know a very good baseball program in its own right, but there's not a whole lot of first-round draft picks that come out of Campbell University. Generally, those guys are out of the SEC or the Big 12 and the power conferences, but then here comes Zach Neto. How did Campbell come into play for you, and why was that the place for you to begin your college journey?
I mean, it was all a blessing. Campbell took their chance to get a little Miami kid, who didn't really have any offers out of high school, but knew that he could play. I remember talking with Hare, our head coach, him saying that he's had a lot of conversations with my travel ball coaches and teammates, and the thing that stood out to him the most was how much I come to the ballpark every day wanting to win, wanting to get better every day, and from a coaching standpoint, how much I like to learn. And that's all he needed to hear. So until I stepped foot on campus, and him telling me straight how it is, just like it kind of reminds me of Wash. He tells it straight how it is. He doesn't try to sugarcoat it or nothing. Him basically just saying, hey, look, you have a shot of being great, but it's gonna take a lot of work. And just for him telling me that, it really sparked a fire under my tail to become better every day that I was there. And I ended up getting the reward out of it.
Of course, conference player of the year and going to 2 regionals. I think after maybe, I don't know if it was your freshman or sophomore year where you really took off, but it seemed like there was very clearly a time where a lot of other people were saying, wait a minute, this Zach Neto guy, he's pretty good. How come he's not on our roster? So when other big-time schools are calling, what goes through your mind when all these other places that maybe didn't want you before want you now? What goes through your mind?
It's like, so my freshman year was the COVID year, so I didn't really get to play much. But my first full year in college, I kind of blew up, had a really good year, won my first player conference of the year. And, I had a bunch of schools asking me to transfer over. But to me, it's loyalty to me. Whoever takes a chance and is willing to do whatever it takes, to get me and make me part of their team and part of their brotherhood, like how we talked about a lot in college. I think it's just the same giving back. I knew the team we had there at school, and the players were getting in, and it was just a matter of being able to like how we do here, a matter of just bringing everybody together, have that team chemistry, and just be able to go out there and try to win ball games.
You can see that stuff. You can see it coming together. You mentioned a moment ago Ron Washington telling it like it is, and we see it from the media perspective. I can tell you, Wash sugarcoats nothing, and you can see it happen with the players as well. The way he communicates, very direct. There's no confusion. When Ron Washington says something, he means what he says. You guys have spent a ton of time together. I remember early in spring training, early in the morning in spring training, you guys working out together. What's the relationship been like with Wash from the day you met him to maybe where you're at now?
I think the first day that I ever met Ron was, it was just kind of me introducing myself, kind of getting my feet wet, meeting the new head coach of the team, and just getting to work. I love being able to do extra work, being able to go out there every day and try to get better. And he really liked that. He has a lot of wisdom, a lot of baseball knowledge that I never knew, or maybe I did, but just kind of clarifying it up. And it just kind of grew on both of us. We just we kind of I always mess with him saying that he's a New Orleans boy and I'm a Miami boy, that we go 2 different complete paths. But I think on the baseball field, I think we're both about the same person. We have the same qualities. We like to go out there. We like to show what we have, and we like to win ball games, no matter how we do it, how gritty the game is. We like to come out with a win on top, and just kind of flush it and bring it tomorrow. But I think it's kind of grown on both of us, kind of like a father-son relationship now, where I look up to him, and we're always joking around and just making fun of each other, just talking baseball. And then when things come serious, he'll put his front foot down, and he'll talk serious, and we'll talk baseball, we'll talk situations, we'll talk about anything. Like I know, for example, like a couple days ago I made an error, and he comes up to me and he's like, hey man, like you're still that gangster out there, like you go out there and show people what you're made of. And I think at that next at-bat, I think I hit a big-time double or no, I'm sorry, I laid down the squeeze bunt, and that goes to another example where during BP, when I'm laying down my bunts and they're pretty good bunts, he's like, man, you could do this in practice, but you sure as hell can't do this in the game. So, and I mess around with them. I tell them, whenever you want, Skip, you just give me the sign and I'll do it. And, be able to come through it like that. It's those are the jokes that we talk about that finally bring into realistic.
I love the fact that a moment that you had a squeeze bunt felt like a big-time double because of the significance of that. It's coming through for your team. I mean, is that a big part of the message that's going on right now? Like, whatever you're asked to do, you get it done. There's value in that, as opposed to taking care of your individual stuff. That's going to come, but executing for your team, is that what feels better than anything else? Yeah,
I think Wash has done a really good job of just bringing the game of baseball back to us. Everybody wants to hit a home run. Everybody wants to be the big-time hero. Be able to bring in those runs, and little they know, when you don't make a productive at bat, you have runners out there just sitting out there. So him being able to, when we got a runner in scoring position, be able to do your job, move them over, bunt them over, do whatever you got to do to manufacture runs. Just at the end of the ninth inning, have more runs than the other team. So I think he's done a really good job of bringing that into our minds again and just doing the little things right.
So before this season, I didn't really know Ron Washington at all, really. I've been blown away by how good he is defensively, still getting out there. The first time he went and took ground balls, like, what was going through your mind at that moment?
So I was actually the one that got him out there.
Okay.
I told him, I said, it was another joke. I told him, I said, hey, man, I don't know if a 72-year-old could hang with a 23-year-old out there. You might have had it back in the day, but this is a new generation. I don't know if you can handle it. And he got that paddle. He went out there with me. He was holding his own until his legs finally started giving out while I was just getting warmed up. So I still hold that one over him. Whenever he tries to get above me, I'm like, hey man, like whenever you want, you come catch ground balls with me anytime. You know where I'm at all the time. So it's just that like back and forth relationship that me and him have, and it's awesome.
I love it. Zach, you've always been a confident guy. I mean, I remember talking to you the day that you got drafted with the Angels. And, I mean, you knew this is where you belong, that this is where you meant to be. That being said, at that moment, that's July of 22. By April of 23, you're in the major leagues, making your debut at Fenway Park.
Yeah.
Did you think it was going to happen that fast?
I honestly didn't think it was going to happen that fast. I thought it was going to take a while, just like any other person would. But I got off to a really good start. After I got drafted, made it to the playoffs with Rocket City. It didn't go our way, but I had a really good year in the minor leagues, and came to spring training, kind of struggled a little bit. I was a little nervous, and went to AA, got assigned to AA, and I was off to a really hot start out there. And Perry and everybody else decided it was a good option to bring me up, and I was here for it. I knew the player I was. I knew what I brought to the table every day, and it's like I said from day one. All those 12 teams that passed on me before, they were going to pay for it. And when I'm a big time name in this game, and it all started with April 15th of 2023 when I made my MLB debut.
Remember that day very, very well. We'll get into that in a minute, but I just kind of want to get your perspective on this as well. So when you're climbing through the levels, obviously a very, very fast ascent for you, but there's so many top prospects at AA. What is the AA competition like compared to major leagues?
I mean, nothing's compared to MLB. The major leagues, it's its own animal. So being able to be here is definitely an accomplishment, and very proud to be here. But the AA is, a bunch of young guys who are getting after it. They want the same goal, and that's to be a big leaguer. And that I remember after my draft, after the draft when I came to AA, we had a really good amount of prospects on our team, especially the teams that we were going against, especially in the playoffs. Teams calling up prospects just to stack up the teams in the playoffs, and it was good baseball. I mean, the best baseball I've ever played in my life. And it was awesome to be a part of it and, be able to succeed in the way I did.
What's the bigger gap, college to AA or AA to the big leagues?
I mean, I think anything to the big leagues is the biggest gap. I mean, when you're here, it's a different ball game. Even though we play in a different stadium, same field, just different dimensions. But I think just different aspects of this game. I think it's different than any other level in this game.
Let's talk about that debut. April 15th, Fenway Park. All of a sudden, this rookie that we spent all spring training talking about shows up, and there you are. Did your parents get there in time for the game? How'd you find out, and how did that all work on the behind-the-scenes part of that debut?
Yeah, so I remember the night before we were in Birmingham, Alabama, playing the White Sox's Double-A, and I had a pretty good game. My first multi-homer game in Double-A, and we were in the 5th inning, and Andy Schatzley takes me out of the game, and I'm all confused, like, man, like, why are you taking me out? Like, we still got a ball game to play, and inning later, he comes and tells me the news, and the best feeling was having my teammates in the dugout, being able to congratulate me, which was the best feeling in my life. After we come out the win, after the game, we have a little celebration in the locker room, and me be able to go to Andy's office and be able to call my parents. I mean, it's an hour difference. I was in Central Time, and my parents were already sleeping, getting ready to work for the next day. And I called them, and they were, you could hear them half asleep. And I was telling them, hey, look, like, I need you guys to come to Boston because I'm making my debut there tomorrow. And they were like, oh, like, stop playing with us, like, stop messing around, whatever. And I was like, no, like, I'm being serious. So they were like, I'll put Andy on the phone. So I put him on speaker, and Andy's, telling him, hey, look, like, your son's he just got called up to the big leagues. And my mom being all ecstatic, and my dad already looking for flights. It was awesome to have. Awesome experience. They were able to make it there on time. Myself, I was able to make it there on time. I didn't know I was playing. I was actually told I wasn't going to play that first day. Just kind of try to let it soak in, and then Nev kind of texted me after my first layover. Him saying, "Hey, you're playing. Just let us know when you land. Game's at 4. Yeah, you're playing." And I'm like, all right, perfect. So, I was able to get there for BP, get stressed out a little bit, nerves going through my body, and, was able to have a beautiful game.
Tim Salmon told me about his debut. It was at Yankee Stadium. It's probably a similar experience. When he didn't feel comfortable until he was in the batter's box. Yeah. Was that kind of the same for you? Was there a moment where it's like, okay, it's just baseball?
Yeah. I mean, I batted 8th in that game, and I think it felt normal to me after I got my first ground ball. I think once I made that play and made the out, I think I looked around and I said, I deserve to be here. I belong here, and that this is just a normal game. Same game I've been playing since I first started playing this game, and it was just a dream come true, being able to see my family out there, and at the end of the day, be just playing the game.
Zach, that story you told, calling your parents, I think that's absolutely beautiful. And I had a chance. We were at an event a couple of weeks ago, and Joaquin and Maggie were there. It was great getting the chance to spend some time with your family. But I got to get to the bottom of something, Zach. The phone issues that you seem to have with your parents not believing do I have it right that on draft day you missed the phone call? Do I have that correct?
Yeah. So I was I got the phone call from my agent saying that the Angels were going to pick me at 13. Kind of put my best poker face on. I was at the draft, so able to put my best poker face on. My parents not knowing anything, and hearing my name called, it was definitely a moment come true. And I remember going through all the media, all the interviews, you go through at the draft. I remember looking at my phone on my way down to just the player lounge. And I remember I had 2 missed phone calls from Perry. I had 2 missed phone calls from Nevin. And, late days to come, I come here to sign, and Perry has me in the interview room, signing my contract. And Mike Trout's on the phone with him. And, the first thing Mike Trout says before even saying congratulations, he's like, hey, man, you missed my messages. So, I'm going back on my phone, looking through my messages, and there it was. Mike Trout texted me 3 times before I even answered. So,
all right. So this just goes to show if Zach doesn't return your texts or your phone calls, he's blowing off the GM and a bona fide first ballot Hall of Famer as well. But that had to be like do you feel like nervous about that? Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't return Mike Trout's text.
I mean, I think it was just more overwhelming than anything. Finally be able to give Phil and Perry the phone call back, and then days later be able to text Mike back. It was awesome, an awesome feeling. I told them I'll never do it again, which I haven't, and it's a lesson you learn from. You enjoy the moment too much, and this is what happens.
That's so great. I want to talk about your family for a minute, and getting a chance to spend time with your parents is amazing. I also feel like they're hardcore. They love you to death, and they are blue collar as anybody, just going out there and they work. And I know that that's something that we can see in your game as well. But growing up in a really grounded family like that, where I would imagine that was just such a solid, but also pretty interesting family life growing up. What was that time like growing up and having them as a support system?
Yeah, I mean, I was grateful to have a family like that. Two parents who just will do anything for their son. Having an older brother and younger sister, just them be able to do whatever they had to do to have a shelter under our heads and put the food on our plate whenever we wanted. It was definitely grateful. We look back at it as we all know where we came from, and we just can never forget those backgrounds. We have a pretty big family. We had a couple family members defect from Cuba. I could just only imagine how hard it was in that time, and just being able to be here and be able to have everything I have and be able to give back to what they've given me my whole life. That's my support system that I've had my whole career. Going back to college and little league and all that, and just be able to see how big and how tight our family is. All the holidays that we do back home. We're all together, big family gatherings, and we take pride in that. We have a lot of fun. We just love each other a lot, and that doesn't come overnight. That comes with a lot of years of being there and experiencing, and just having a lot of support and love for each other.
I know that sometimes you get here and you're in the show, and it can become a big lifestyle, and sometimes that gets the better of guys. Zach, it just seems like, as grounded as you are, I think that you have enough in you that's not going to happen. B, I don't think your parents would ever let that happen. I mean, it's pretty cool seeing like they still support you in a way like that. I'm just telling you it's a little bit unique. You don't see that all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it like, I know if I play good or bad, if I have a job here or not, that my family's going to support me either way. They're going to love me the same as if they did when I was a little kid. And I try not to let that affect me. If I have a bad game or not. I try not to let that affect me, and just give my parents a phone call. They're across the country, so be able to give them their phone call every day, see how they're doing. Since I'm not home, and just be able to check in with them is the best feeling.
Let's talk about baseball for a minute, because I spent a lot of time on the air talking about the development that I see in you and Logan and Nolan and so many of these young Angels. Do you feel that, like on a day-to-day basis, do you feel like there are times where you're getting better?
Yeah, I feel like I get better every day. Every day I walk, every day I put feet in between those white lines, I feel like I'm a better player as the days go. Whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever it takes, I feel like, I trust the guys in that locker room. I trust the support staff. I trust our coaches, to make me a better player. And it's like I tell them all the time, I like to be held to a standard. And if I ever get below that standard, that you guys confront me about it, because I don't want to ever be below that standard. I want to be, if anything, I want to be above it. So they've done a really good job of keeping me in check, holding me accountable to the things that I want to be and I want to become. And they've done a really good job of it.
It seems like there really is something that is being built here. Is that something that you feel? Do you guys ever talk about what this group of Angels is going to do for this organization someday?
We're gonna bring it back to a winning organization. Back in the day, they've made it to playoffs and World Series in 2002. We're gonna get back to that. It might take some time, but we all have that willingness and competitiveness to go out there and try to win ball games for not only each other, not only for the fans, but for each other in that locker room. And without the guys in there, then, I mean, that's the backbone and whole group and whole core of this, and be able to do that for them and the coaches and, eventually for the fans, it's going to be the best feeling ever.
Can't wait. Zach, appreciate the time, man. Thank you. Good job. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
This has been another edition of the Under the Halo podcast. For more of our content, you can go to youtube.com/angels. If you're watching it already, that's great. If you ever want to listen, maybe you're in your car driving somewhere, you want to check out the audio-only editions, well, that's available at angels.com/podcast. We invite you to download, subscribe, and be locked in with all of this podcast content we have coming your way. Thanks for watching the Under the Halo podcast.